Welcome to season 4 of Where's the Line? I am Sabrina and I'm joined by my co-host Jane Liu. Jane,
Hello.
season 4 has officially commenced. How are
Isn't
you
that
doing?
crazy?
I know you just came back from a big trip. What's new?
The last couple weeks have been um honestly insane. Um I had a couple trips in September for friends' weddings, and then we had family in town. And then we left for a 2-week trip to Taiwan, to Beijing, and then to Hong Kong. I'm just back and I'm now heading into my travels for a club, which is this like company celebration trip. And then right after that, I think like a week after that, I'm supposed to go to this big conference that's hosted annually for work. So like a little pleasure, a little work. So it has been exhausting, and I have a couple more weeks to go before things actually slow down. And then the holiday's gonna come, so you never know. But yeah, it's been pretty crazy.
I know, right? You were heading into holiday season and you still have a lot of things going on before then. So, speaking of holidays, we're about to
Mhm.
enter Halloween season first, though. Really
Yes.
exciting. And so I'm super curious. I mean, I don't know about you, but candy I go through phases where I'm like super into candy and then I try not to. Um, but with Halloween nearing, what are some of your favorite Halloween candies? So I have this whole list, 25 most popular candy, and I'm sure our listeners can guess what's part of those 25. But yeah, from off the top of your head, Jane, as you
hmm
look at this list, like what are some of your superior tier candy and some of your the ones that you just don't appreciate as much?
First of all, I'm more of a chocolate girl than candy per se.
Very much
So
so.
yeah, I'm not like a traditional candy kind of girl, but I will say Halloween's also not my most favorite holiday. So I'm like not the most qualified for this. But I will say, um, I'm a sucker for anything that has like a wafer on the inside. So like, okay, my number one is probably Kit Kat. I mean, she's iconic, like everybody knows her. She comes in different flavors if she wants to, but then the original is like incredible chef's kiss. She doesn't need to be changed for anybody. I also feel like she's very accessible. Like, you know how there's like the bougie candy or like the full bars that are like kind of expensive that they would never give out, only unless you live in a rich neighborhood and you're privileged. But if you live in a regular neighborhood, like you are not getting any of the fancy stuff. So, Kit Kat, she's very accessible. Um, but yeah, she's like a little exciting because she's got a little crunch on the inside, but not too crunchy. None of that peanut butter. I know people love the peanut butter stuff. That's too much for my grandma teeth. Just give me a wafer. So I was probably I'm not a big fan of any of the ones with the coconut shavings and the coconut flavor. None of those. Any of the like the Tootsie Rolls. Like don't cheap out on me with the Tootsie Roll.
Mm.
But I I can't give that much shade because I feel like Tootsie Rolls are also kind of iconic Halloween. Kind of like candy corn. Like nobody likes candy corn. Like let's just be honest, if we're talking behind her back, nobody likes her, but she kind of represents Halloween. So, anyways, my least favorite is probably Tootsie Roll or like a candy corn, but forget about them. It's all about Kit Kats. What about you?
Yeah, so I subscribe to the crunch. I love me a good crunch, chocolate and crunch together. So as I look at this list, um, I will have to pick the Twix. I love Twix
Mm.
for similar reasons, and it's just a great marriage of the two. Um,
Actually,
now,
you're right. The Twix is also wafer on the inside,
yeah,
but there's like a layer of caramel, which
exactly. It
is
has
that better or worse?
three of the best worlds.
Okay, so you like the little bit of caramel. Okay, all right.
Yep, a little bit of caramel and then the crunch, the biscuit, and then the chocolate. So
Okay.
I think Twix is the perfect combination. But I do like me some Kit Kat as well. And then because you were talking about coconut, that's funny. Because you're probably gonna yell at me that I didn't follow the assignment. But I was like, out of all of these, actually, my favorite is not on the list. Is
Which was
it?
your favorite?
Yeah, have you heard of the Ferrero Raffaello?
Is that
So
the same company as the Ferrero Rocher?
yes, so I was like, oh, Rocher is on the list for listeners,
Wait, I'm
but
Googling.
Ferrero Raffaello, so the parent company is Ferrero, and then Raffaello it's like same size balls, but they are white and they are covered in coconut flakes, and the inside is
Um,
this like super creamy coconut cream with a kind of like a macadamia nut inside also.
is this available in America?
It is, but very, to your point earlier, it's very exclusive. It's not
Mm.
readily available. You have to go to like a specialty store, like a European store. And then last note, in my childhood, my mom used to make Raffaello tart for me, like just a big cake with
Uh-huh.
Raffaello Rocher. So yeah, it would be this like massive coconut cream cake, and she would stick like little Raffaellos all around it. And this year when I went home to Germany after I got
Uh-huh.
laid off in February, she made
Uh-huh.
it for my birthday again, for my 36th birthday. So isn't that so cute? So to bring
So
it,
would you say you're a coconut with chocolate fan?
don't mix the two, but separate. Yeah. Like the chocolate should stay with like the biscuit stuff and the caramel, and then the coconut full on separate its own. I love that. I almost
Got
like
it.
that more than just chocolate. Yeah.
Okay, well, for our listeners, it's spelled I did the homework. It's spelled Raffaello. Just for
Yes.
all of us uneducated people who have never even heard of this. But it looks really good. It's your
Yeah.
least favorite though.
Oh yeah. Don't come to me with any sort of Starburst or Sour Patch Kids. Like I cannot stand anything that sticks in your teeth. I'm just like, why? Why do people? I cannot. And I feel so bad, but there was this guy I was dating and he like gave them to me because he was so excited about them. And he was almost expecting me to be really excited. And I was just like I tried one and I was like, yeah. So no, thank you.
It's unfortunate because I feel like Starbursts are very like all American.
Yeah, so
You
American.
know, like I did not grow up in my culture eating Starburst.
Right. Yeah, yeah. You and I, exactly. Immigrants.
Okay, but here's one question though. Apparently, in American culture, Starburst, the different color, you know how you know how there's like different flavors and then there's
Yeah.
like different wrappers and there's like different colors. Apparently, there's like a whole ranking just on that because there are people who
Wow.
like the pink more, people who like the red more. I've
Oh,
never heard of
mm,
anybody who liked the yellow. It has a cult following.
that definitely tracks with this person as well. We definitely encourage our listeners to send us their favorite and least favorite candy as we're about to head into Halloween. I don't want to speak for you, but I'm so excited for this season. We have incredible guests as always, but somehow they just keep adding another level to it, like the level of the
Mm.
vulnerability, the level of openness and transparency. So super grateful for each of the guests. A sneak peek into our topics for this season. We're talking about dating in 2024. Woohoo.
Mhm.
What it's like to date in this hookup culture and non-committal era. So really pumped for that conversation. And also we have a single mom by choice on who is going to share quite openly about the journey, the hardship, but also just the joy that she sees every day now with her child, even though she's
Mhm.
single. So, so beautiful. We have my dear friend Kevin Cow on, who is opening up about vulnerability in men. I think that's a topic that's not really being talked about enough, right? Still very much stigmatized. So, Kevin, kudos to him for opening up. And I'm so excited to bring that episode to our listeners, hopefully inspire other men to be more open with their emotions. And then we'll
Mhm.
talk about things like dieting and diet culture. This is one that's near and dear, well, for better or for worse, very close to Jane and I. We both have gone through individual journeys on that. And I think a lot of women, especially, can relate to this. So, yeah, excited. How are you feeling about the topics this season?
I'm super pumped. I feel like knowing that a big chunk of our audience are women, so many of the topics are so applicable to them, but I also think we're really like doing our best to also appeal our to our male audience as well. I know that's something we really intentionally wanted to do this season, so I hope that we can work to achieve that. What also really excites me is having like specialists in these topics. We also have a conversation about supplements, and we have real specialists who work in those fields who are functional dietitians speaking to us about these really important topics.
As we were preparing for today's opener, I did look back to our season 3 opener,
Mhm.
and that one we released at the beginning of 2024. We've been doing this now for 2.5 years since the first episode dropped of season 1. We are close to hitting
Crazy.
2,000 listeners, which is so
Whoop,
crazy. 2,000
whoop.
downloads.
When Sabrina and I were preparing for this episode, we looked back and we're like, half of these we didn't really do. We're giving ourselves grace. It's what we're doing this year. My physical documentation of my 10 ins and 10 outs. I will say, my 10 ins, I'm a lot better at achieving than the negative things that needs to be out of my life. So, typical me, always adding and saying yes to more things, but never removing things. Anyway, something I need to work on this year.
You're pretty good on many of them.
I'm trying. Okay, well, for our audience, let me give you a status report, a report card, if you will. Um, okay, one, a better evening skincare routine. Let's just say I got that down. I got new products. I had stuff from my Asia trip, and now I'm gonna have more because I'm just back from my other Asia trip. So I got my skincare routine on lockdown. However, I do need some help from our audience if you want to write to us or just like message us on Instagram. Um, Now that I have all these products, I don't know the order of the procedure. So like I'm
Mm.
doing my thing. Let me know which one I'm supposed to put on first versus later. Is my number one. Two, sunscreen. Specifically, I put in parentheses Asian sunscreen.
Yeah, that's
I've been very good at that. I put that on every single morning because I can't be aging. Three, drinking water before coffee. I've been, hate to brag, perfect about it because I'm chugging that water every morning. Five is a capsule wardrobe. Okay, here's my honest truth is there's been a lot of new items in. There's not been a lot of items out. Let's just say. So yeah, the hangers are filling up. Okay, but here's the good news is I am working. You have to buy new things to build your capsule wardrobe. So I'm buying things that are not super patterny. I'm still keeping, I'm still doing some colors here and there, but I'm trying to keep them matching a little bit more. So I'm not wearing floral shirt on the top and stripes on the bottom. Pickleball. I have done that. I've
Woo.
learned the science of pickleball and I have the ugly side of Jane has come out, the very competitive, jealous of other people buying the best equipment so I can be the best on the court. That has come out. I don't love that about myself, but that has come out. But my best one that I'm most proud of is audiobooks more than 16 hours has been out for me this year. So I limited myself to 16 hours, a very odd, arbitrary number, but I've been very intentional about not taking books more than that, and it's been really good also for my mental health because I feel like I'm completing things. I don't get stressed out about finishing the book before a certain time frame when it's due.
Great track record, I have to say.
Better than I thought, to be honest, better than I thought. So I
Yep.
I am very proud of myself. I mean, I
And we
am.
still have 3 months in the year, so but I
I'm
think
gonna tackle all my other 10 items.
no, I mean listen, like I okay, a few things here. So first, I'm super impressed that you really set your mind to this and you're actually following through on your goals. I feel like I'm following through more on your goals than on my own.
That's
Like
still improvement.
I guess, but it's just weird. Like I'm like Sabrina, just maybe I should do a better job of focusing. I mean, I did have a crazy year, quite the plot
Right.
twist. I did move
Tell us
across
about
the
your tell us about your
country.
ins and outs.
Yeah, I mean, at a high level, I barely fulfilled any of them except for egg freezing. I did freeze my eggs, so that was a
That's
big
big.
one.
That's big. Yeah.
That was a biggie. And I'm happy I did so. And the funny one that I had to chuckle on a bit was one of my outs, actually, because one of my outs was return to office, which, for those of you that have listened, we had a whole episode on it, how companies need to be better about explaining the why behind
Hmm.
a return, mandating people back to office. And here I am. I moved across the country for a company to be back in an office. But yeah, so in any case, quite the year turn of events here this year,
Hmm.
but it is what it is. So yeah, not too good on my goal setting, but the two that I actually followed were from Jane, where the water before coffee now, I actually every morning when my instinct is to just grab the coffee to get that caffeine and to wake up.
Hmm.
I'm reminding myself, nope, Sabrina, water first. So thank you, Jane. It is the better thing to do. So that I've really im sort of internalized. And the other
Mm.
one is the clear house, clear mind. With my move, I've always been a minimalist, right? So this wasn't a particular goal that I set, but with my move, I decluttered so much more. I think I cut my belongings in half over the last
Really?
2 months. Yeah, literally in half. And now my apartment is relatively empty. I feel so good. I feel mentally in such a better place.
I'm glad it helped somebody because I did not. I'm at such a place right now where I've just so much stuff and I'm so bad at throwing stuff away. I'm like very sentimental. So like little things, I'm like, oh, I can't because there's so many memories on it. But I
Mm.
am working. I'll work on it. I'll work on it, especially with this capsule wardrobe thing. And now I have my new outfits in. I just have to get rid of stuff, which is the hard part.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if this helps you, but what helped me was like, have I worn this in the last year? And if the
Hmm.
answer is no, then it has to go.
Okay.
You can adjust the time frame, but I would argue, Jane, if you haven't worn in the last 3 years, it's really time to go.
Right.
So maybe start with 3 years.
Okay.
Just a thought. Okay, we'll
Here,
report back.
yeah, we'll report back.
Okay, well, also, aside from Halloween time, we are entering in the holiday season and winter. And even though maybe not a lot of people are excited about winter, winter can be really fun, right? When you make it fun.
Hmm.
So we're doing a little bracket, but I'll let Jane introduce the actual exercise.
We're talking about best things about winter. So everything on this list is things that people find great about winter. There's going to be 16 items total or 16 topics that are all winter related. We're going to essentially pick two per round. Out of the two, we're going to select one that is like the better thing about winter. And then eventually you're going to obviously drill down. And then there's going to be a final between two best things about winter. And then Sabrina and I hopefully will come to a conclusion on the ultimate best thing about winter. So that is bracket style. Sabrina, how about this? I will walk you through the first eight, and
Mhm.
then you will walk me through the later 16. And then together we'll kind of get ourselves to the final decision. Does that work?
Perfect.
So, your first option, the best thing about winter, is hot cocoa or cider versus making snow angels.
I feel like in my day and age, or my the where I'm at in my life, I will opt for the hot cocoa. I think that's really fun to do when you were younger or like when you have children. I think that can be super fun with like the snow angels, but for now I'll just stay in my cozy apartment or even I mean I will be outside with my hot cocoa, just not buried in the snow.
Okay, fair, fair. Number three, traveling versus the holiday season. Like the idea of holiday season.
I sound like a hypocrite maybe because I do enjoy the holidays, but I also love to get out of them. So I'm gonna choose traveling here.
Okay, but do you like
Um,
traveling in the holiday season though?
Oh,
Because
okay.
it
Clarification.
can be, right? Well, no,
Okay.
it's up to you. It's up to you. Let me not sway you, but it is winter time, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's an important detail. I don't look forward to the idea of traveling on the day before Thanksgiving or the day before Christmas. Absolutely not. But if I think about going to Hawaii maybe for
Hmm.
Christmas, like that is
Hmm.
really exciting to me. So the way I understood it was, yes, I do enjoy Christmas in a more traditional sense of winter and snow and cold, but I also like traveling. So sometimes and just escape that. So I'm gonna say traveling.
Okay. All right. She's sticking to her decision. Okay. Next is cozy sweaters versus homemade soup.
Ooh, I love making soup, so this will have to be the soup. I enjoy it
Okay.
starts in the fall with pumpkin soup. So I make that from scratch. And then in the winter time, whether it's a good old clam chowder or broccoli cheddar chowder.
Okay.
God, yeah, I go crazy on those. I mean, I have sweaters, but again, I decluttered so much. I have like 3 sweaters left now. And I live in
You
San
won't
Francisco,
need
so I
it in
may
San
not need.
Francisco. Wait, are you making your own soup?
Mhm,
Your own clam chowder?
mhm.
Wait, you're so fancy. Okay, we will take that offline. Share your
Right.
recipes.
Yes.
Okay. The last two for you is Christmas lights versus Christmas music.
This is a very tough one because I don't like either, but I will choose the lights because I cannot stand the music anymore.
Especially
I,
when they're on repeat.
oh God, I turn off the radio so fast.
All right. Shall we shift over to the other side?
Yes, let's do it. All right, Jane. So, next up, what is your preference between giving presents or receiving presents?
This is so embarrassing. I have to pick getting presents. I have to be honest with
Yeah.
our audience.
Yes.
I listen, some people's love language is giving gifts. I'm just not the best at it. I know there are plenty of people who are the best. They're so detail oriented. They know exactly what to get people. And you know how there are some people who like make gifts, which is like so lovely, but like
Mm.
that's just not me. So I'm gonna say getting presents is
Yeah.
better.
And I applaud your honesty. And also it is sometimes it's hard to receive. So, oh, sorry. So for you just to receive, that's also a skill. So,
Thank you.
all right. I have a hard time receiving. That just like big meals with family and friends or forget dieting.
Yeah, like as in not have to worry about dieting. I think for me, the big meals is a lot. It's very important. Like even though like even for like Thanksgiving, my family's not necessarily the biggest like Thanksgiving family. It's just like not something we grew up with, but we still do some sort of gathering with like our friends, and same with like Friendsgiving. It's like kind of a reason to get everybody together, and like everybody makes an effort to make Friendsgiving or family dinners happen or Christmas dinners. So I feel like for me, the big meals is with family and friends is a lot. It's like very wholesome.
What about ski snowboarding trips or ice skating?
I mean,
I feel like I know the
neither.
answer.
But okay, if I have to pick one, I don't know. What do you think? Like, I'm kind of leaning towards ski slash snowboarding trip because we do try to make that happen like once a year. We're also just like not the biggest skier or snowboarder, but I do not remember the last time I ice skated.
And they can be so fun with like après ski, right? You don't have to ski every day. You can just can have
Yeah, and you can feel bougie about it. You can, stay at a nice, you could go to an Airbnb or a cabin.
a hot
You can make
tub.
a
All right, and the last combo here, or face off,
Mhm.
bonfire versus snowfall.
Okay, now when we're saying snowfall, let's get technical here. Are we talking a full-blown storm? Or are we just
Winter storm. No, just the light, like
a
drizzle.
light drizzle of snowflakes? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well, if that's the case, there is something romantic about a light snowfall. Let me
Yeah.
clarify. A light snowfall. However, if I'm being honest, snowfall always means that there's going to be slush or you got to shovel that, and depending on the volume of snow, there's always consequence
Yeah.
after. And I just feel like I'm not about to deal with consequence. I also did not really grow up with a lot of snow. So even though it's really romantic and it's very like snow globe, I feel like I have to go with bonfire. Sabrina, you picked hot cocoa and cider and traveling as your first set. So between those two, which is the better thing about winter?
I think the traveling is just, I kind of went in a weird direction with that. So I'll pick the hot cocoa. It's just more winter.
Hot cocoa slash cider. Okay, but quick question. Are you more of a cocoa or cider girl?
Great follow-up question because with hot cocoa, I can only have one and maybe just even like half a cup. And
It's
then
kind
I'm
of
done.
intense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the cider, of course. Yeah, give me cider. I can drink three of those probably. Or mulled wine. That's not even on the list,
I
but
was gonna
mulled
ask.
wine.
Yeah, that's very like European.
Yes. German, yeah, for sure.
Okay, we'll add that into this. We'll be generous. So you're telling me that's the big winner? Okay, so then the next one that you're selecting between is homemade soup and versus Christmas lights.
Yeah. Well, this probably doesn't come as a surprise, but soup all the way because
Okay.
it embodies so much more than just the soup itself. It embodies one of my favorite activities, which is cooking and being in the kitchen, having like a podcast on in the background, and just getting all cozy and making the soup. So it will be soup all the way.
To challenge that. Homemade soup, you really have to put effort in. Like you're cooking that thing for like
Oh yeah.
hours
Yeah.
sometimes. Whereas Christmas lights, like somebody else is putting up the Christmas light. No, but
Yeah.
I do agree with you. I just want to be silly, but I agree. It's homemade soup, but that's why I asked earlier, are you actually making it yourself? Because it's so much work.
Mm. Yeah, but I love it. I mean, like I said, with the right podcast or with some company and a glass of wine, can make it
A
fun.
glass of hot cider.
Yeah, oh, I see what you did there.
Well, on the right side, we can decide these together because I feel like mine, I'm not the most passionate about it anymore. But do you feel like getting presents is better or big family meals and get-togethers?
Well, I think maybe you and I are but this ties back to the decluttering and sort of the clean house.
Mm-hmm.
I I do not want to get anything. Don't give me anything. I don't want to keep it. I don't want to store it. So I am not the presents person. So that's why I loved when you said that with the giving experiences in your ins for the year. So I will happily take
Mhm.
our experience, but no present.
I feel like big meals, you're getting a lot more out of it. You get a lot more memories out of it than like, one present. Presents are nice, don't get me wrong. If you're not gonna get Sabrina a gift, you're welcome to get me a gift. So, I'm not gonna say
What are your
no.
love languages, by the way? Quick.
Don't we all love all the love languages? Like, come on, like don't deprive me of one of the love languages. But
Ah, you're
I
one
will
of
say,
those.
how dare you?
All five.
Give me all
Poor Kyle.
tough to be Kyle. No, but I can't even defend myself. It's true. Um,
Oh, you're cute.
but I feel like okay, mine is acts of service is definitely the clearest number one.
For you to, that's how you receive love or
I
give.
think to both. I think
Oh, both. Okay.
I feel like I am giving love when I'm doing something for somebody. Like I genuinely feel like I am servicing this person when I help
Mm,
them with like chores or whatever it is,
yeah.
whatever it could
Okay.
be. But then also when people do that for me, I like feel a sense of relief. And like it's a very obvious feeling for me versus like getting gifts is really nice, like sure. And like physical, like all these other ones are really nice,
Hmm.
but there's one clear one, I think, for me, both for the giving and receiving.
It is definitely words of affirmation in both giving and
Mm,
receiving and physical touch. So yeah, let's pick out the last two for on your side, and then I actually would love to hear what you think of my between my two remaining.
okay.
So yeah, between ski, snowboarding, and bonfire, a clear winner for me is ski snowboarding trip because I love skiing. But what about you?
Probably as well. My potential downside is it is quite expensive to go on a trip. So it's like a once for at least for me. We
Hmm.
don't do that a lot. Um,
Yeah.
but I do think like it's a lot more memorable than bonfires for me. It's
Yeah.
like a very iconic winter thing. Whereas
Right.
bonfires, you can kind of do it in the fall too. Like you can do that. You can technically do it in the spring, you know?
That's true.
Whereas like
Yeah.
skiing is a very wintry thing.
Maybe you guys should come visit me and we can go to Tahoe together this
Okay,
season.
great.
I'm planning a birthday trip in February, so just FYI.
Wait, that's like perfect ski season too.
Yeah.
Oh
And this
my
is my
God.
first time skiing out west. I've never been out west. I grew up in the German Bavarian Alps, obviously, but it has been on my list to go skiing here, out here in California or
Have you
surround.
done any in Colorado or like Utah?
No, and no, it's like so embarrassing in my 15 years here. Never made it to Colorado because when I do go home in the winter, it's always to Germany and then I just ski there.
Okay,
Hang out.
well, okay, do Tahoe, you have to do that. But then make sure one of these years you do like Colorado.
Okay,
There's
yeah.
just there's so many and it's a whole vibe, it's a whole thing. So, okay, let's move ski and snowboarding then up.
Okay. What do you think of my two between hot cocoa slash cider slash mulled wine and homemade soup?
Okay, let me think. Best thing about winter, it's light snowing outside. I'm inside. I'm also not a big hot cocoa girl, but ciders I can get down with. So I feel like okay, but then there are a lot of variety of soups. So you can really jazz it up if you want. You could there's always a new flavor. There's a lot more options. Where cider is kind of like the same thing every time. Same with cocoa. Like it is what it is, you
Right.
know? So homemade soup has made it to the finals.
Wow.
Big meals versus ski slash snowboarding.
This is such a tough one. Because again, me being loving cooking, but also I would choose, but you obviously have a say here too. I would choose the skiing just to have the contrast because we have the soup on the other side. But yeah, I will have to go with ski snowboarding.
Okay, well, do you guys do a lot of big family like dinners type of stuff for holiday season or
Mm.
not much?
Not as much as in the US, but I do like last year, Paige, friend of the show, invited me for her family's Thanksgiving. And
Mm-mm.
I know it's like a really big deal here. And for Christmas, when I go home, sure, we'll meet with my family, but my family's not that big and it's
Mhm.
always a little bit more contained. Yeah.
I do. Okay, I will support the ski slash snowboarding to move forward.
Okay. Oh, wow. The final.
This is our final. Two
Super.
very different things.
What a random
Homemade
finale.
soup. Homemade soup versus skiing slash snowboarding.
Oh my gosh.
You decide. Two of your favorites.
I know, wow, here we are, and I can't even decide now. I would say ski snowboarding because I could order a soup at the ski resort.
I thought you were gonna go homemade soup.
No, I'm
Cook
second
it.
guessing myself now.
No, this has been decided. We have our winner.
Yes, we're not going back.
Ski slash snowboarding being the best thing. That is so not true. I'm literally looking at this whole
How did this happen?
No, it's decided. It's decided. We'll let our audience get upset with us in in the email or the Instagram
Yes.
post.
Thank you, Jane, for creating this fun bracket. Um, for our listeners, Jane is really creative and all the fun exercises we've done over all the seasons is credit to her. So, um, and it is even more sad to announce that actually this is going to be Jane's last season. So
I
I
know.
don't even want to like think about it just yet. We're gonna have another episode where we'll talk more about it and talk about future plans, etc. But and we'll have a whole tribute to Jane and for all the incredible leadership and contributions you've made to this podcast. It would not be the same. It will not be the same without you. So that's for sure.
Oh,
So we don't know what
thank
the
you.
future holds for Where's the Line, but it is very sad to say that this will be Jane's last season.
Oh. Well, listen, it's been like an incredible 2.5 years. It's it's a long time. Like we've literally been talking, I mean, we were reflecting before we started recording, but it's this idea has been way more than 2.5 years for us. Like we've literally talked about it during the pandemic, and now we're a couple years out of the pandemic as well. So I just feel like it feels like it's longer than it is, and even the 2.5 years has been really, really long time, and even for, like, just, like, looking back at all the seasons and even looking at this season, like, there is so much to look forward to. I know you're also gonna do incredible, but also, like, season 4 is gonna be amazing. I'm super pumped for it. I hope our audience is pumped for it as well. There's also gonna be so much more, like, incredible stuff that comes out, whether it's during season 4 or after season 4, but we'll talk more. We'll talk more. And listen, I'm not leaving forever. I will come back as a guest host one of these days, maybe an expert as a guest one of these days.
Yes,
So we shall
please.
see. I won't be fully gone. I'll be around.
Okay, good, good. Then that's great.
Alrighty, well, we're coming to a close on our season opening episode. Um, as always, we want to hear from our listeners. Let's keep it fun and lighthearted. So, we want to know from our audience, what are your favorite Halloween candies? Actually, tell us both your favorite and your least favorite and
Mhm.
why, because we need to know the information. And then also, let us know if skiing and snowboarding is literally the best thing about winter, because now I'm questioning, but it's too late. We've decided. So email us at where'sthelinepod@gmail.com. And of course, as always, like give us ideas for more episodes. We're always here to listen to your ideas. With that, we will see you in season 4.
Yay, see you there.